Howdy, welcome back to me reviewing and tier listing STPs. Today I will be reviewing the EZP with retainer by Transthetics. Like always, I'll be ranking the STP off of 5 different criteria. The first one's going to be looks and realism. Will I get any weird looks if I use this at a urinal? Comfort and packability. Will it look or feel like I have a boner? STP function and learning curve. Will I be able to use this in a reasonable amount of time, or am I going to get frustrated with it? Pricing. Will I be broke if I buy this STP? Yes or no? And then my overall ranking and would I recommend it to people. Before we get started, I'd like to point out that any STP or product I have bought has been with my own money. No company has sent me these to review, nor have I been paid to give any review. So this will all be my own honest opinion, but keep in mind, if something works for me, it may not necessarily work for you. Before we actually start the review, I'd like to give fair warning. What you're about to see is a prosthetic that looks like a penis. If this bothers you in any way, please feel free to click off. Thank you for watching as long as you did, and have a good one. Alright, here is the EZP by Transthetics, and the retainer. Give you a little look around of it. Here's the retainer itself. This EZP comes in the color C04 or medium. Its dimensions are length to end 6 inches or about 15 centimeters. The length of shaft on the underside is about 3 inches or 8 centimeters. The length of the cup is going to be 3 inches or 8 centimeters as well. The width is 2.4 inches by or 6 centimeters, and the weight is approximately 110 grams or 4 ounces. And this weighs just a little bit more than the average deck of 52 playing cards. The prosthetic itself costs $195 USD, and it is an additional $10 for the retaining cup. And right now they only have 3 color options available, and don't plan on releasing any more at this point in time. For my pricing tier, I think I'm going to put the EZP in Treat Yourself. I know $200 isn't cheap, but for an STP with this amount of realism, I think you're getting a good bang for your buck. When I received the EZP, it came in its actual shipping bag, and inside the shipping bag, it came with its storage pouch inside with the EZP and retainer inside. And I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of that because it's a soft packaging method. Anybody who's really feeling the package might be able to tell what it is if you're shy about that, or it might get damaged in shipment. So, on to my first impressions. I think, like all pause. You see that white line that's on the EZP? That's actually a manufacturing error. I have it here. This is the original one that I bought with the retainer. And I actually reached out to the company because I was afraid that it was going to become a big rip and tear. If you look at it, you could actually see a little piece of like silicone or something sticking out. They believe it was like a foreign object got stuck in the silicone, and I just wanted to point this out because when I reached out to the company, they sent me another EZP free of charge. I didn't even have to pay for shipping. So I just want to point that out, that I love how the EZP looks and their customer service was amazing. Alright, back to the video. Transthetic models, the EZP is really nicely molded. I don't know whose penis they're molding these off of, but as one of my friends would say, that's a mighty fine pecker you got there. I would also like to point out that this is a fully uncut tip, which I'm super big fan of. It has a no spill lip. The silicone's fairly squishy. It's not too stretchy, but it's not uncomfortable, and it's like fairly thinner silicone. Some lovely detailing. It is painted, so keep in mind that some of that might rub off with time and usage. The balls on this are really flat, and the reason for that is the way that it packs up. It's supposed to be a more compact STP, so instead of this going between your legs while you're packing with it, you're gonna have it flipped up against you and almost waistband it. The silicone also doesn't have a very like tacky feeling, but it does have this frictiony feeling that I noticed a lot of their products have, because I have the lollipop and the joystick as well. And it's just more grippy, if anything, but it's not sticky, if that makes sense. For looks and realism category, I would have to put this in wouldn't think twice. I really do love the molding on this and detailing. I think it looks really good. Again, big fan of Transthetics products. But if you're looking at this by itself, it doesn't look exactly like a penis because of how it's almost flattened out the way it is, and the balls being super flat. But you'd have no problem whipping this out of a urinal. I also wish the company had more color options. I had emailed the company about any new plans for colors, but they don't have any at this moment. But I do think a wider variety would be great to show how lovely these prosthetics look. Onto the STP function and learning curve, I would have to say that this is really good. I was pleasantly surprised by how well I was able to pee with this with a strong flow. Even with a full bladder, I had no issues with this backing up on me in any way. I was kind of surprised because of how small this cup is and how overall small this product is. But I think how big and sturdy this no-spill lip is and how far it curves over helps a lot with that. And the fact that this drains out really well. Even with having larger thighs, I didn't really need to use the retaining cup as much, but I did find that it was more helpful. So if you have bigger thighs, I would definitely recommend this for at least trying out. I do think more companies should come out with something like this because this is kind of ingenious. Some things I did want to point out about this though is because this is a shorter STP and it's a very straight design, you're going to want to make sure that whatever pants you're wearing, you're able to actually open them up so this could stick straight out and slightly down so you can work with gravity and it's not going to kind of backflow onto you. I would also say when you're peeing with this, because it's a shorter shaft, make sure you're leaning down near the end of your stream when there's not as much force so it doesn't back dribble onto you. Another issue I did have with this cup, and it just could be me, was when I was positioning it because of how it sits in here. And this was when I was wearing sweatpants. That's why I was bringing up the wearing something you can open up. When pulling this down, you can kind of see this will pop up a bit, and that creates an issue where this hole becomes narrower because it's not fully aligned. So definitely wear this with maybe jeans or just something that you can open up, because in most situations, cis men don't really pull down their pants when they're using the urinal. They just like pull it down a little bit and then whip out their dick. So the big thing I think people would struggle with the EZP is how it's not packed the way you're going to pee in it. Again, you pack like this, and then you have to do it like switching Crocs in a sports mode. You have to go from here to here, and there's a technique to it that I'll link in the description below that the creator of the EZP on Transthetics, he did a whole video talking about it, how you kind of pull down your waistband with your thumbs, grab this, and pull at the same time, so it's one swift motion of going like this. And I definitely think people should practice that at home when peeing with this, so that it's an easier transition when you're actually using it at the urinal. So here I am doing my flow test. With the 250 milliliters, you can see that it can handle it no problem whatsoever. The flow rate is really good on this, even when I spilled a little bit on the side. And even with 400 milliliters, it's really pouring in there and it's able to handle it no problem. I think it's a really great proof of concept that great things can come in small packages. For my max capacity test, I found that the EZP could hold around 80 milliliters. For my STP function and learning curve rating, I would have to put this in stupid easy. The reason I'm putting this here and not light work, no reaction comes down to having to figure out how to transition the STP from packing mode to peeing mode. A lot of other packers will pack in the position that you're peeing in or have some minimal adjustment. With this, it's like I said, putting Crocs in sport mode, two different things. But for actually peeing with this, I was so pleasantly surprised by how easy it is to use and the great flow rate with it, with how small it is. It is very intuitive to use. I would just be careful with dribbling near the end of your pee, because again, the shorter shaft and not having a lot of force behind it might make it backflow a bit onto you or on your pant leg. So for comfort and packability with the EZP, it's recommended to always pack up like this and almost like waistband it or put it a little to the side, because you're not really supposed to do this or you risk tearing it. And I'm not a big fan of packing up, but this was still very pleasantly comfortable to pack with. I think it has to do with the fact that it's very small. Again, the silicone's very squishy, and even though I would pack with this retaining ring in, I still found it really comfortable because it's completely surrounded by the silicone. It's not really this hard plastic pressed against you. It doesn't make a huge bulge, and I would say in just boxer briefs, this point definitely does look like you have a bit of a boner going on, but wearing tighter underwear really helped with that and helped keep it from adjusting on its own, if you get what I'm saying. I feel like maybe if you wore super tight pants, this would feel uncomfortable, but if that was too bad for you, they do have the EZP Junior, which is about 80% the size of the normal EZP. I would also say, because it's this grippy texture to it, I thought it was going to tug more on my hair and skin, but it really didn't. For my comfort and packability rating, I'm putting this in Fantom Penis. Even though I'm not a big fan of packing up, I found this created a decent sized bulge that I wouldn't need to worry about looking like a boner, because it's not really at a risk of unfolding itself in any way, and also it's on the smaller side and felt very comfortable. I would say that briefs are the way to go with this, since if you have extra space in your underwear, it might start to wander off to the side and tilt a bit because it's not really held between your thighs, but overall a very comfortable STP even with the retaining cup in. So, what did I think about the EZP by Transthetics? I was pleasantly surprised by how easy this was to pee with, and again, I really do love the look of their products. They have a cut version of this if you're more into that, and I think this would make for a great beginner STP for someone who's getting a hang of it because it packs smaller. I think the people that aren't going to like this are going to be people who like to pack big or have too big of thighs that they can't make that gap between them, but I think this cup would help with that. Or I think people who maybe have a bigger build who can't see over their stomach as easily, this might cause some issues if you want to be able to see where you're aiming. So I understand those, and I would suggest trying a different STP in that situation. For my overall ranking, I would put this in the must-have tier. I do really think this would be a great beginner STP, especially with the retainer. In fact, I would just recommend getting it anyways, just to get a feel for it and see which way you prefer it. If you have the extra money, it'd be really good because it is a bit more realistic than some other ones on the cheaper end. And if you aren't worried about packing big, or you want to pack small specifically, this would be a really good one for you. So, that was my review and tier listing of the EZP by Transthetics. I hope you found this video informative, entertaining. I hope it gave you some insight on this product. If you have any questions about this prosthetic or any recommendations for other STPs or videos you'd like to see me make, please let me know. Have a good one.